Investmentor members, welcome. Another podcast here, a bit of a special one here, guys. I'm not sure if you guys know, we have Jacob, who is our media team, head of our media team. We're lucky enough to have his dad, Tony, of Companion Homes, a builder in and around the Epping area, to come join us in this podcast. Get a bit of insight as well to the building industry, what he's done in the past as well. And it's probably going to give you members some, useful information to go about the industry, especially when you guys are investing in things that are building, purchasing land and getting a builder. So thank you, Tony. Welcome. Welcome to the podcast, Investmentor. I heard it's your first time coming into a podcast.
Yeah, first time, yeah.
Does it feel a bit weird with the headphones and everything?
Yeah, it feels a bit echoey, but...
Yeah. So I think we'll start with just a question that we were talking about just before we started this podcast was how different it is, I guess, when we were talking about owning homes and how this generation, I guess, the generation after yourself, Tony, probably has different ways of thinking about, do you purchase a home or do you go in and invest first? So, what's your thoughts on that purchasing home part?
Well, as a young bloke growing up, my parents always instilled in me to buy an investment property, and then either move into that as your own home or move on from that. And but the important thing was always to invest. So always strive to own your own home.
Yep.
I know you guys do it a little bit different, whereas your mentality is to just invest and pay rent.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
well, it's interesting. A lot of people kind of, even my parents, the same thing was like, why aren't you buying your own home right now?
Yeah.
But it's not so much we want to buy the own. We is it a must to buy a home? I think it's just to have the options whether you want to or you don't. So, eventually, I might, or people who are renting might. I actually really enjoy renting.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
I actually really enjoy renting.
Yeah. I suppose you haven't got the maintenance issues. I suppose something goes wrong.
Yeah, not really. But I move around probably once every 2 years by choice.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I have 2 daughters who are teenagers. Just as long as it's near their school.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
so I don't move away from the northern beaches.
Yeah,
I just go suburb to suburb.
Yeah.
Depending on how we feel that year.
Okay.
It's like, do we want to be closer to the beach this year or whatever?
Yeah.
But yeah, so with yourself, Tony, Companion Homes.
Yes.
How did that start?
Well, I was my brother's apprentice. My brother's he's 9 years older than me. Yeah. So I was 16 when I left school, and I became his apprentice. And then after a few years, we pretty much became partners. And originally there was 4 of us. There was my cousin and my other brother as well. So we're 3 brothers and a cousin. And now it's just me and my brother, and we have my nephew working with us as well. And at one point we were 7-man team, and
wow.
Over the years we've just things have changed, different circumstances have changed. We've invested in other businesses. So my other brother, we're invested in garden centres, so he's running the garden centres now. And so
is that like Flower Power?
No, four.
No, is it something like that there?
Yeah. 4 Seasons Nursery.
4 Seasons Nursery.
Yeah, they're on the northern beaches. Yeah.
Which suburb?
Belrose on Forest Way.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So if you live on Northern Beach, you'd probably pass that way.
Yeah, I probably do.
There's that Brookvale as well. Another one down at Brookvale.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another one at Mount Coller.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Your dad's very entrepreneurial.
Well, we had a pizza shop. We had 2 pizza shops at one stage as well.
Pizza shops, building companies, gardening companies.
You got a bit of variety is good, just a diversified change. Always, try something different.
Well, what I'm interested to know is when you said you were like an apprentice, I actually used to be an apprentice welder.
Okay.
Thinking to myself I was going to build motorbikes one day. That never happened. But when you said straight out of apprenticeship you started, what age did you actually start the business, the building part?
Well, my older brother, he did his clerk of works, which is what that was the building degree back then, and so it was probably when we got full on into build, because we're actually bricklayers. I did my apprenticeship as a bricklayer, and my brother was a bricklayer, so we're actually bricklayers. After he did his clerk of works, so probably about we were laying bricks. Then we bought the pizza shop in '87, sold it in '92, but we were still in the building game at that point, so we're doing both. And then from '92, that's when we really got into building. Yeah, because my brother had his full license, and then we started a company. The company.
Yeah, '92. Yeah. How old were you then?
Yeah, not '92. I was jeez, I was 22.
22.
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
Wow. Was that like residentials?
Yeah, just residential. Yeah.
Residential.
So at that point we're doing duplexes, townhouses. We're doing a lot of client work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like in and around the area that you live in now?
Yeah, mainly around the Hornsby area on the upper North Shore mainly.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we normally stick around there. We pretty much all grew up around that area, so we pretty much our parents are still there.
Yeah.
So we pretty much just stick around the same sort of area. If you got most of your jobs, close by, it makes things a lot easier to run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's interesting, Tony, I think maybe a lot of our members might get some good insight from this, is when you first start, especially when you're first starting or any company. What was it like as like a 22-year-old trying to find the jobs, or was that your role? Or
well, pretty much. See the way we work. We've always been very hands-on. So when I say I'm a builder, I actually build. And
right.
Like I come from the job today. I was actually laying tiles today before I came here.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? So we're actually we do everything from we do our own concrete, we do our own brickwork, we do our own framework, all our carpentry, all our metal roofing, so all our landscaping. So I mean, because there's only three of us now, we will do at the moment. Well, just for instance, at the moment we're doing 2 houses side by side. One of them's finished and sold, and the next one we're 3/4 of the way through it. So yeah, and we've got another client job to start, just a small reno, just to see us through in between. But we've got another block of land which was going to start a house which is in the same area as well. So yeah,
right, okay,
yeah. So that's what. See, it's the advantage of doing what we do is that we don't rely on a lot of people. So being hands on, we can keep the job moving, and we get through it fairly quickly, and we're not outlaying a lot of money either. You mean like you don't get a lot of subbies and everything? Yeah, as far as subbies go, I mean plumbers, electrical,
yep,
and plastering pretty much. Yeah.
Yep.
The rest of it, even the painting, we do ourselves. Yeah.
Wow, on a 3-man team?
Yeah, 3-man team. Yeah. Yeah. It's the thing is because like for instance we'll okay say if we're at the bricklaying point, and we finish we'll finish laying the bricks. Say half a day or whatever. We'll start something else. You know what I mean? Like we're always and the good thing about doing what we do is that because the problem is with contractors is they'll come in and they only concentrate on what they have to do. They don't worry about the next trade. Mm-hmm. So when we do something, we make sure it's ready for what we got to do next, so it's done properly as well. So we don't cut corners. We make sure everything is done properly. Yeah, yeah. So you're efficient on the actual process part. That's going right. To the next part. Yeah. Okay. So we don't work on turnover. We just plod along and just yeah.
One thing that like probably wasn't mentioned was that like this isn't very common what you guys do. Like most builders like at least hire their own carpenters. Like you guys don't even do that. Like you do all the framework yourself.
Actually our old carpenter, he just he was working as a contractor for a builder full time, and now he's gone back out on his own. So actually he's actually come to give us a hand. So which actually was it was very refreshing actually.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So. Well, I think that in terms of the jobs though, like are these more like custom houses?
Yeah, custom houses. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you help with like the design?
Yeah,
and everything?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So we've got an architect.
Yeah.
And he'll pretty much he'll do a couple of sketches, and then we'll move things around to. Because we're building them as well, we know where we can save $1 if we do it this way or that way, and so we'll get him to change things around to suit us. And even sometimes while we're building, because you don't always pick it up on the plan. And that's the beauty of doing our own projects. If we want to move a wall, or to open up a room a bit better, or rearrange a bathroom, we just do it. There's nobody to answer to. We just if it works better, we'll do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's got its advantages. Yeah.
So I'm assuming a lot of your client base are owners of the property, like they're actually going to live in it. Especially if they're custom designing their homes.
Yeah. We don't do much for investors. Yeah. We have done in the past.
You have in the past.
Yeah, we have in the past. Yeah. But mainly it's owner occupied.
Owner occupiers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you also help with the DA part and everything?
As far as because they're single houses, the process is quite simple. It's like when you're getting into units and townhouses, that's when it gets a bit complicated. But it's a single house, the zonings, get a bit complicated. Like with bushfire and flood affected areas, even the houses we're doing at the moment, both of those were flame zone. But we managed to, because they were far enough back, we managed to, by changing the setback of the house, we got them downgraded, which was quite a big saving for us.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I mean. So so it took a bit more time.
Yep.
But the thing is, it was worth waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can answer this or you don't have to. How many with companion homes, roughly about the builds, I guess, per year? Like, because they're custom houses.
How many per year?
What do you think you do? Ballpark figure. Or a range.
Yeah.
And I know it'll fluctuate year on year.
Yeah. On average, we do about 3 to 4 projects a year.
That's customized. That's very
Yeah, but I'm talking like with a rent, like they could do a reno, a couple of houses and a reno.
Yep.
That sort of yeah. But otherwise, yeah.
Have you ever considered doing like more?
Well, we actually in 19, when was it? No, it's not 19. 2003, we built a block of units at Brookvale.
Did you?
Yeah.
What street?
Yeah, in Funder Place. So that's near Warringah Mall. So,
Funder Place.
Yeah, so it was still the old style 3-story walk up.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was and at that time that's when units had really started to kick again. And but it was a very short lived because we know actually a couple of smaller builders who tried to get into it actually went broke, and we tried to buy more sites, but people were just paying ridiculous money for them. And actually, and that was actually so it was probably it was just before the GFC, and a lot of people lost a lot of money back then.
Yeah, they would have.
Yeah.
So you actually owned the site. We bought the site and
we got a syndicate together.
Yeah.
So we got a few people we knew, and we put a syndicate together, and we bought the site, and everybody invested, and actually everyone made about 30-40% on their money, so they did quite well at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And from there, you didn't consider doing more of those?
No, we did, but every time we'd go to auction to
try to get the site,
and we were just getting blown out of the water. We thought, wow, it was like, I mean, if we could afford to hold on to it, but then from there we did we bought a 4-lot subdivision, and we built 4 houses in Hornsby.
Yep.
But then that was at the time when Bob Carr brought in this vendor tax, and that killed that market for a little while. And but it's fluctuation, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you still think there's in this market now? Do you think it's just from your opinion? You think that's still a good strategy, trying to get the land and doing subdivisions, even if it's a small one?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know.
No.
This is something. This is something I ask people. I ask, what do you think? You think there's still room for improvement? There's things. But the thing is, there's a saying: what's expensive today is cheap tomorrow. And it's always been the case. And even like, when the average price is $2 million for a house, it's like you're thinking, well, is that going to go to $4 million? Seriously.
Look, Tony, these are questions that all our members ask us.
Yeah.
Like, how far can properties go? I mean, the house prices now in Sydney is like average is 1.6.
Yeah, that's right. That's Yeah.
So if you talk about 1.6, the question is, how does the next generation even get into property?
Well, that's it's crazy. It really is. It's.
Do you think it will drop?
It never drops. It corrects itself a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, but it never. No.
Why do you think that is?
Because of demand.
Demand,
and I think once we come out of this, we're coming out of the pandemic now, and once immigration starts again, there's obviously people with a lot of money overseas who, when they come to the country, they bring it with them, and and that's what so that's the thing. It makes it harder for our kids living here. Yeah.
Well, this is the questions we always get asked as a research team. What's your thoughts on the last 2 years of house prices in Australia is actually the largest inclination over the last 32 years, even without immigration. Why do you just from your experience as a builder?
Why has that happened?
Why do you think?
Expats. All the expats that came. There was more than 500,000 expats that came back to.
Did you guys tell him this?
No, we did not brief him before.
No, I do keep up to date. I try to keep up to date with things because like I said, being in the business that we're in, you're kind of like you wonder why do these things happen? And that's
interesting.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's so they've all come back and want to live here and
I mean, this is a topic that we always talk about. And when they ask me, yes, I agree, expats. I agree that by demand, immigration. Tell me if you agree with this, though, which is, I think in Australia, it's just simply a lack of supply. It's the release of...
they release it too slowly.
Well,
I remember back in the 80s,
there
used to be Landcom, which was a government...
They're still around.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, whenever they used to release land...
Do you guys want to explain what Landcom is, just for people who don't know?
Well, Landcom is like a developer. Well, they own a lot of land.
It's a government run.
It's a government run.
Government owned.
A good project that you guys will be familiar with, Castle Hill, that we just recently done. Landcom. The one in Tallawong, Landcom. But then it's funny because they initially have the site, and then they put it out, and then the bigger tier 1 developers end up buying it off them. But they partnered together in the beginning.
So is that why both those ones were more affordable than most in that area?
Well, Daycorp. Do you know Daycorp? Developer builder, tier 1, one of the tier 1 builders. They've got a very good, efficient construction process. Like when they build apartments, for example, when they're putting in the bathrooms and all that, it's not like they get tilers and all that to do it. It's pre-done, and it's just slotted in.
Is this a unit development?
Yeah, like as an example, like a Landcom and a thing.
Okay.
So
back in the 80s, Landcom, the government used to sell the land, so they try and make it more affordable, and people used to camp out like for days to try and it was first in, first serve.
Yeah.
So once there was 50 people camping there, well, there was no more land.
Yeah. Well, it's happened now, Tony.
Yeah.
We've been we've been trying to get land for our customers for the last year and a half, Yet, I'd say about 5 years ago, as a company, some of the owners and developers who own the land would actually give us some at even discounted prices than the retail market. They don't do that anymore. They just because the line to get land is still really long. Like if you go to Box Hill, you go to Geelong, the areas we want to go in, 200 people's waiting for 10 releases.
So they're not releasing enough.
They're not releasing enough, and then basically the owner of the land is just dictating the price. It even came to the point where it was a ballot system.
I've heard of some of those.
Register your interest, and if your name gets pulled out, you've got like 10 minutes to decide. So I put that to everything that's contributed to the prices.
Yeah, you're right.
As
that's right. There's not enough supply.
I believe so.
Keeps the prices high.
Keeps the prices high.
Yeah. But if they, well, that's the thing is if they release too much land, is so people who have already paid those high prices and then want to sell, is that going to destroy things for them?
You mean the land, or when they've built? Either way,
just overall, just in general. That's the thing. Is it going to see? Are we too far gone to go? Okay, just release 2,000 blocks of land and or whatever.
Good question. Yeah. Look, I'd say this. I'd say it depends on the area you go to. Like, if you're going into a residential subdivision, one thing I'd probably mention before I get to that is, I think every new suburb around Australia is being built by estates now.
Yeah.
Maybe you can enlighten me a little bit in the 80s if, subdivisions, estates, new suburbs in the western side of Sydney are all just land estates now.
Yeah.
Was it like that before?
Yeah, things are pretty much... Things really haven't changed that much as far as the way they release the land. Yeah. As far as,
Yeah. So, look, I'd say this, like if you... And this is part of our research. Let's say you go to Brisbane and you go into an area and majority of the buyers in that, let's say, 2,000 lot development, if majority of them are investors, then, in my opinion, the ones who had previously bought probably is not going to get the value.
Yeah.
But if you're going into estates where most people are owner-occupiers and they're paying, like say 80% of the estate are owner-occupiers and only 20% are investors, you still have a really good chance of keeping that value. That's what from our experience. Only because the estate itself or where they want to live, like people are paying now premium just to get into the suburb. But I put it down to as well, like it's just council and all that takes. We did a study they've shown a study where release of land takes about 5 years for it to rezone and then put it to market. That's 5 years. It's pretty long.
So that's it. So they've got to have enough in the pipeline to compensate for that.
So that's interesting thoughts on the market, but you obviously think it's not going to stop. It will just correct.
Well, that's what they call it, isn't it?
There's just a correction.
They call it a correction.
Yeah.
But for instance, okay, my eldest son, he bought a house at Layla Park.
Yeah.
Right, which was a very, very cheap suburb.
Yeah.
But it's one of those areas where it was still affordable, and because people are you get there was a lot of housing commission there. There's a lot of bikies in that area, but now they're all moving out because the area's getting too expensive for them. So people are buying the old fibros, knocking them down, putting up new houses.
Yep.
So those there's still a few areas like that around where there's still because the transport's very close, Seven Hill Station and that.
Yeah.
But he was lucky. He bought in a bit of a lull where he actually offered I think 50,000 less than what the asking price was, which is very rare in this day and age. You know what I mean? Normally it's you get a price guide, and if you don't offer above the price guide, you got no chance.
Yeah.
So, but that was a lull.
Yeah,
there was a lull in the market where things actually all the agents were actually advertising a price. They weren't advertising a price guide. There was a price on the house. So yeah.
And lucky for him, he's got a builder for a dad, right?
Yeah.
So he could save on costing the build.
Well, I'll put it this way: when they say it was a renovator's delight, it was it was no delight, trust me. But it was there. It was pretty run down. But well, he's in the trade as well. So
how much is it worth now?
How
much did you buy it for? It was like 5.
Okay. He paid 5. He ended up paying 514. Right. He had 60,000. He had a 60,000 deposit, but the bank lent him 105% of the cost, so he could use the money he had saved, his deposit. They let him use that to renovate. So he spent the whole 60,000 on the renovation, and so ended up costing him under 600 by the time he finished, and it's worth $1 million today.
When was that?
So
2019.
Oh, that was right. That was good.
3 years ago. Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago.
That was just before COVID.
I remember. Yeah,
it was just before COVID.
We finished building, like the day that we were completely done was the week before lockdown. So beginning 2020. So it took us about 6 months from. So it was like September 2019.
Yeah. So we bought it. He bought it at 19 or 18.
19.
He bought it 19.
Yeah. It was about mid 2019.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, look, if he had got that in mid 2020,
different story.
Different story.
Yeah.
You know, that's when everyone started to buy, especially with the home builder grant and all that, all the incentives and the stimulant packages.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about the new one that's come out if Labor wins the election?
What is it? Which that one?
The I don't know the actual name of the scheme, but it's to allow first home buyers in again.
Yes. Is that the one where the government buys part of your property?
Yeah.
And then, okay. So if you buy a $600,000 property, the government will buy $200,000 of your property. You pay $400,000, and
So they own, essentially, they kind of own, what is it? Whatever percentage.
Yeah.
So you only need to give 2% deposit.
Can you buy it back, the rest of it?
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Yeah, once you've paid off your initial, then you can buy it for government, or But I think, you buy it back if prices have increased.
The equity.
Yeah, so you got to pay. So it's not just the 200,000 you got to pay back. You got to pay back any equity. Yeah.
Yeah. So but if you read the recent article, the government actually says they will get that back on the price rise of the property.
Yeah.
So think about that. If a statement is made that way, how do property prices go down when even they themselves are banking on properties to keep going up?
Well, apparently it's been going on in Western Australia for quite a few years, and the government's actually been making money out of it.
Yeah.
So it's already been happening in Western Australia, which I was actually quite surprised when I heard that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
well, here's the thing I have. They will incentivize you more on a new build.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you'll get extra, and you only need 2%. The issue is when developers they ask for 10% of the land price. The vendor will ask 10% of the land price and 5% of the build when they start building.
Yeah.
So you're already over the 2% anyway. So it's a bit difficult to just come in and say, hey, 2%, but that's not what the requirements are. And from the bank's point of view, to get the loan, they need to see, you've given 7.5% to get that. So let's see how it plays out, but it's just so...
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, but then the problem is too, even when the government, even when they give these grants for first home buyers and that tends to push the prices up even more.
Yeah.
Because so any saving that they would have had, it will go in the increase.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it will.
It's a tough one to balance.
Yeah. The government, the government knows, I believe anyway, the government knows that the prices in Australia, whatever they do, increases the price. Stamp duty.
Yeah.
Stamp duty is one of the biggest
I'll put it this way, it keeps the states going, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, all that money they handed out during COVID, just in stamp duty alone, I think they made it back.
Yeah, just in stamp duty.
Yeah.
So, and they keep these thresholds on first home buyers. So, I mean, $600,000, $750,000. What can you buy now for that?
Not much. Not much at all, is there?
Yeah,
No, I mean, I don't know how far out now you got to go to 750. Like, you can't even go Central Coast anymore.
Nah, no way.
No, even that's gone through the roof.
No way.
Yeah.
750, you're going even probably Coffs Harbour.
That's even that's even, and then you got to go west of the
even Orange is past 750 now.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, all the
Goulburn, they're all
the country towns.
All the country towns are just so high now. So many people have moved to regional locations.
You think that's because a lot of people can work from home now, so people are
Yeah. I mean, we've done the research on it. It was the biggest in the last 2 years. It was the biggest movement to regional locations, both in Sydney and Melbourne.
Okay. Yeah.
In the last 2 years, which is now again it's about supply. In regional locations, the supply is even worse.
Oh, okay.
It's even worse. Like
right.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. But like you say, why don't they? I mean, regional locations obviously they've got good land to release if they wanted to. So that's the. I mean, that comes back to the government, doesn't it? It
comes back to the government. But what we find with regional locations, there's a lot of, I think, red tape when it comes to community feedback. Even though even the local council or government wants to release of land, the community doesn't want it. So even that takes years and years for it to say yes.
Okay. Yeah.
When you push it out because they got to do a process of community feedback.
Yes.
And so a lot of these towns don't like.
Yeah, because they're the traditional
towns. So they want to keep it tight knit.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest reason in regional locations where the prices are so high because there's no supply, even though people want to move and people want to buy houses or land, it's just not getting released.
Yeah, so...
just as we're talking about regional locations, so as you both know, I bought a property through Investmentor in regional part of Melbourne.
It's not regional, Jacob.
It's not regional. Well,
it's 30 k's from the CBD.
Well, there you go. But
it's about 35 minutes drive to Melbourne CBD. Is that regional?
When you go out there, it seems regional.
Yeah.
But just on that, like, I want to get my father's opinion on that. Just on the purchase, because from what I've told you about it, just compared to what my brother, your eldest son, bought. It'd be interesting to know your opinion on the two purchases and like.
Well, they were very different price points.
Not really. Very similar.
400,000.
I bought mine for $495.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, $495. Yeah. So, yeah. So, yes.
Hang on, but
so it's a different.
It's hard because
it's different.
I'd say that's hard because that came in 2019. Like, you could probably have got something in 2019, maybe, around the same price. But when did you get 2020?
2021.
2021, that's 2 years later. Remember, between 2019 to 2021 was the biggest move in all property in Australia. It was hard to find something with a 4 in front of it.
Yeah, that's
in that
right.
time, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
Okay, the best thing I like about your property is that it's brand new. It doesn't need any renovations.
I'll still get you down there anyway.
Well, are you familiar with the Melbourne market?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, it's hard to say if you're not really
I
familiar.
No. I mean, that's it. I mean, I just imagine to be very similar to the Sydney market. Further away from the city you go, the cheaper it becomes.
Well, I mean, do you think 30k is from Sydney CBD to Parramatta is 27? Okay, just remember that. Mm-hmm. From where you are, you're about 30. Okay, what have I said about in my webinars? Melbourne has not released the same way Sydney has in the last 25 years. Sydney released land over the 25 years. Outwardly, a lot quicker. But the growth rate between Melbourne and Sydney in terms of growth is almost comparable in the last 25 years. If Sydney grew at like 8%, Melbourne also grew at 8%. It's just the barrier of entry, for Melbourne was a lot smaller. Because when they planned Melbourne 20 so years ago, a lot of it was concentrated within 10k of the CBD and to build up, which is why Melbourne has the largest amount of residents living in the CBD in apartments. Okay. So they didn't actually build outwards, they built upwards. If you go to the Melbourne CBD, it's not, and you go to Sydney CBD is a lot of commercial buildings where people work. Melbourne, majority is residential buildings. That's why you're going to see a lot of empty buildings there. South Bank, Docklands, Melbourne CBD, they're all residential buildings. And that's because of the planning code or whatever, and they built up. It's only now that they're trying to build out because of the suburban rail loop. Because Sydney, at least we have a train line that can go northwest all the way to southwest. It's like a big U. They don't have that. If you look at Melbourne's train lines, the CBD, and then everything goes like this. It's like a finger. There's a CBD, and then all the lines. They're finally connecting all of these together so that all the suburbs, 20 k's from the CBD, will all be connected. The suburban rail loop. That will change Melbourne, which will allow now the planning of release. So I always tell people, if you've missed Sydney, that you're getting close to the CBD, Melbourne has to be the next place to go because they haven't seen how Sydney has done it. That's how I put it. So 30 k's from the CBD in Melbourne, 20 years from now, will seem close. You talk to a Melburnian and say 55 k's away. There's people in Sydney who live in Box Hill, Leppington, those areas. 50, 55 k's.
Yeah, that's right.
How much are they going for?
Yeah.
What are the houses there?
Well, you're building a house in Barara right now. That's probably like 50, 60 k's from the city, roughly.
No, Browra is Browra was less than 40.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, because Hornsby's 25, and it's about another 15 from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah,
it seems further out.
Yeah. No.
Just seems further out.
But it's got a train. There's a train line there.
There's a train line there.
There's a train line.
Yeah.
So if it's got a train line, then that's
how much is Barara at the moment? Like, how much would a house in Barara go for at the moment?
That's expensive there.
Well, we're talking 2 mil.
Yeah.
For brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah. An old.
Probably more.
Okay. If you're looking, a cheapest house in Barara now, you're looking for a knockdown, would be knockdown. You'd call that land value, 1.3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think about you can't. What can you buy in Sydney for 500,000?
Even 600.
Let's say okay.
Yeah, even 600.
What can you actually buy
in Sydney for
in
600? Can you still buy a 1-bedroom unit?
1-bedroom unit.
Yeah, but not anywhere near the city, right?
Oh no, you can still get one in. No, you can get one around Hornsby, Epping. Epping, you can still get a 1-bedroom for 600.
No, 700 minimum in Epping.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I haven't looked. I haven't looked for a while.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. No, Epping's a bit different, but. Yeah. Maybe Hornsby.
I think Hornsby you can still get a 1-bedder for 600.
Your nephew, my cousin, bought one in Asquith a couple of years ago for what, like 650, I think.
Yeah,
2-bedroom in Asquith.
Yeah. That's a newer type, so it's a decent size. Yeah,
yeah. But in Melbourne, 650,000, 25 k's from the CBD, is a 4-bedroom home, with a land size of 350 square meters. You know what I mean? But sooner or later, that's going to be close. It's like buying in Sydney 20 years ago, because Melbourne is going to have more population than Sydney by 2030. So you just think about that. They're going to have more population than Sydney in probably 8 years. Where is everyone going to live?
That's very true. And
that's how I put it.
But it's I know. Then it comes back to affordability, doesn't it? It's like on the way wages grow. It's so what they're going to become. They're going to become 50-year loans. So you're going to pass it down to your kids.
Well, look, I think what's going to happen is, and it's already happening. The unaffordability is pushing out a lot of the locals.
Yes.
But it's attracting the people with money, especially the new migrants. Because if you think the new migrants now coming into Australia they're coming on skilled visas.
Yeah.
So
it's a different
their visas are like in IT, doctors, nurses. When they come in here, their salaries are $150,000, like to start.
Yes.
And if you go up to the northwest, like those new areas in Sydney, why are they mostly migrants that live there? Because they can afford it. The ones who used to live there are getting pushed all the way out, even further and further away, possibly even away from Sydney now. So new money will come in. So when you talk about affordability, I think a new generation of migrants will come in. The unfortunate thing is we are now going to become more and more renters.
Yes, because that's what they've been talking about on the news lately. That people under the age of 30 or 40 or whatever. That I think it's I've forgotten the percentages or whatever. But compared to the 70s, where 80% of people bought their own home, where now it's 40%. 40. Yeah,
it's now 40%.
40%. Yeah.
So rate of home ownership before 35 years old is like dropped 30%. That will continue to go. Because the wages aren't going to go as fast as the properties. Like that's now a fact.
Yeah.
It's the new money that's going to come in that will keep the properties going, because like a lot of Indian background are coming in now. Chinese, obviously.
Yeah.
A lot of other nationalities are coming in.
But,
and they will buy those, because we have to remember, when you come from an Asian country, buying new properties is not unfamiliar. Like, for example, in Philippines, no one buys secondhand properties there.
Okay.
Like, it's not a thing over there. People buy new condominiums or new houses or whatever.
So what happens with so there's no market for old houses?
There is a market, but hardly. They hardly buy it. And there's a rule in Philippines: when there's a building, after 50 years, it actually gets knocked down.
Oh, okay.
And they build again.
Oh, okay. So they recycle.
They recycle.
Yeah.
It's actually a thing on the contract. So people don't stay for 50 years.
Yeah.
So when these new nationalities come to Australia, buying, say, brand new properties, it's known to them. They even look for it. And they're the ones that can afford it.
Why do you think that's such a skeptical thing with Australians not wanting to buy? Like, because a lot of people are quite skeptical of buying new property. Like, why do you think that is?
Well, look, I put it this way, Tony, I'd like to get your thoughts on it. Like, if a client came up to you and wanted to knock down rebuild, would you consider that new?
Yeah, of course.
That's still a new property. Like, for a lot of people that I know, if they had their own home and they want to knock down rebuild and build a new home, they don't have a stigma or a thing towards it, but it's still new. But when it comes to investment, there is something to do with new, and I think it's maybe a trust thing from builders. I'm not sure.
With new, yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on the situation, because with new too, you get the depreciation, and so you get a better tax benefit on buying brand new.
Yes.
So, but as far as I think from an investment point of view, I think people prefer brand new for investment.
I'd probably say. I mean, what do you guys reckon? Because we still get a lot of people who object to it.
Oh, really?
They only want to buy old.
Yeah, I think maybe all those problems Sydney's been having with the mascot towers and
the defects
and all the defects. Yeah. Because I think they want a mascot. They're pulling the whole building down.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty major. I think that's scared a lot of people off. But now that the government's on top of that now. I mean, like I've got a cousin who's a developer. He's younger than me, and he actually built quite a few blocks of units, and as soon as the government changed all the rules on the certifying, he actually got out because the hoops he's got to jump through to get everything certified and get everything done. Like he built quality work. Don't get me wrong, but he said it wasn't worth it. He goes the amount of extra cost involved in it and red tape and everything.
Yeah.
So he actually retired.
Wow.
But he got out of it for that reason. So the government is on top of it now and making sure that all those builders are doing quality work.
Yeah, I mean that's that's one thing we look at. If like here as a company term, I'm not sure if you know that majority of the properties we recommend are houses, townhouses.
Yeah.
We have a very small percentage of apartments, and they've got to be really good ones for us to recommend.
Okay. Yeah.
But like as an example, I know the new kind of rules that they're setting out for these apartments. They're actually ranking the builders and the developers on it now, and they actually get a rating.
Oh, okay.
They actually get a rating now, through an independent building thing. I think that happened at the start of this year. So for anyone wanting to buy, they can actually see the rating of the builder. So, look, I think coming out of all that defects, I think it's a good thing. But it will make it harder, like your cousin.
Yeah. Well, that's
it's definitely
right.
made it harder.
Yeah. Well, I heard a story of a block of units. I think it was 150 bathrooms in this block of units all up, and when they came through, they made them rip every bathroom out because the waterproofing failed. Because they actually lifted one tile out of every bathroom. They cut a tile out of every bathroom because the waterproofing wasn't checked before that was tiled, and to measure the thickness of the waterproofing, everyone failed, and they made them pull everyone out.
Wow.
Which is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, because there is a lot of dodgy builders out there, especially some of those developers. Really.
Yeah. We've seen them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We've seen them.
Yeah.
We've seen them.
Cutting
corners.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no quality control.
Quality control.
Yeah.
They're getting and like private inspectors or whatever they do, private certifiers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's the worst you've seen in terms of bad builders?
Look, I saw the one that they did in Homebush. What's it called?
Opal Tower?
Opal Tower.
Opal Towers. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a look at that?
I actually did. I saw it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was bad. Like the cracks in that were so bad.
That
the whole basement. Like you just cracks in the.
That was just
Wow.
the concrete not being strong enough, right? Was that the main issue?
I don't know what the exact issue was, but
I think it had something to do with they didn't put the right expansion joints in the right places. So I think it looked a lot. I think it looked a lot worse than it was because they went round and they because people have moved back into that now, haven't they?
They've turned that to rent to own.
Okay, rent to
Rent to
own.
own. What does that mean?
So if you're renting, like there's a program that they're doing now. I don't think they could get any new buyers in. So I think they did a program. I think a friend of mine is actually doing it, where you get to rent it, and then there's an option to buy it once you've paid enough rent for a deposit or something like that.
Yeah,
This is a very common way to buy property in the Philippines. It's called rent to own.
Okay.
So if you have no deposit, you rent it for say 3 or 4 years,
and part of your rent goes
towards the deposit until 4 years later you have the option.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Australia might consider that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's happened to the Opal Tower.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
But
yeah. Well, they didn't pull it down, so
yeah, I reckon probably now is the the safest building in Australia after all the fixes. So who knows? Yeah. But that's the worst I've seen.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But with yourself, Tony, have you seen much of a change, I guess, in building processes since you started till today?
No, I have to say no. So since I started.
Since you started?
No, not really.
No?
Things are quite. No, I think things really haven't changed that much as far as the process goes, and yeah.
I'd like to get your thoughts, because one thing that we look at on a daily basis is land, the engineering of the land, the surveying of the land, and judging the site costs. Would you say, because we get a lot of stories where someone might buy a piece of land and want to build on it, so they buy the land, they get a build quote, and then what happens is the builders give them a quote based on whatever they could build on, but then when they actually go on site, there's so many extra costs that get involved because they need to do more fill or excavate or they've hit rock or whatever it is. Is that common that you see?
Well, see, the thing is, in the market that I'm in, most people because most people know that it's going to cost. So we don't see where you're talking precisely from the from project companies who give you a fixed price. Like at the moment, there's one, I think it's Allcastle, that advertising $369,000 for 5-bedroom, 2-bath,
that's impossible.
Double car. And I look at that and I think, what are they giving you for that? You know what I mean?
You can't.
It's seriously. I mean, and
is that in Sydney?
Yeah, it's in Sydney. Yeah.
A 360,000 build.
369,000. So okay, so $370,000. It's impossible.
You can't. Yeah, unless that's just the basics of what you get.
But it's still
like the absolute basics. Like there's nothing.
Okay, but they're telling you that if you've got a dead flat block of land and the sewers in the right spot, the water's in the right spot, everything's in the right spot, that they'll come in there and they'll put that there for $370,000. I mean, okay, it's a plus site costs, right? But then they're going to tell you, okay, we've got to put piers, we've got to do this.
That's what they'll do.
Yeah. But still, I don't know how it's going to stand up for that price. I mean, that's especially
not for three.
In this market too. Like the cost of timber, right? Like framing timber, construction timber alone, just has gone up 25%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that alone, roofing, metal roofing's gone up 15%. You know, concrete constantly goes up 5% twice a year. And so I've no idea how these companies can even advertise that.
Well, that's what happened. I don't know if you know this. A lot of companies did do that and realized that, I guess, that fixed price of whatever they did was no longer feasible when it came down to the registration of the land. Even apartment builders, like building companies building. I haven't seen an industry like this where there's so many builders going bankrupt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you familiar with it?
I don't really see that much of that side of things.
Okay.
Yeah. But okay, so there's been quite a few
big ones.
Builders, yeah. Okay.
ProBuild.
Oh, actually, that was on the news of a ProBuild, wasn't it? Yeah.
Condev.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the other one? There's 3 massive ones: Condev, ProBuild, and there's one more. But real big builders with projects in the pipeline for the next 2 years went bust.
Because they couldn't hold their prices.
They couldn't hold the prices. The materials went up.
Yeah. They
can't find labor.
Yeah, well, that's another big thing. Labor as well. Oh yeah. It's so hard to find people. Well, if we could, we'd take on 1, even 2 apprentices. But the thing is, we know people, from schools and stuff, and we ask them. We say, if you've got any kids who are looking for apprenticeship. And, the kids don't even want to do it.
They don't do it anymore.
No. It's
and then this is the thing I tell everyone as well, guys. Like, I think there's going to be less and less tradies.
And that's the thing is, it's like even put this way, our carpenter who just got back into it, started using it, he charges more than our plumber. So he's charging more than plumbers and electricians because he's in high demand.
Yeah.
So he knows. I mean, you know what I mean. Like, but I mean, he's good value. He's still good value. But as far as that's unheard of. It's plumbers, electricians were always the most expensive trades.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, less and less. More people are going into what? Media? Digital.
I got out of work in construction to go into media.
Yeah, why is that, Jacob? Why'd you choose that career?
Well, I don't know.
It might have been because of his father, maybe, I think.
Yeah, it scared me out of it.
Yeah, now more and more people, more and more young. Look, people are making money just off the internet now. These young kids are so influenced on all of that sort of stuff, and they know they can make money, and they try to make money that way. It seems easier, I guess. And you would go through a 4-year apprenticeship.
But so here's a question for you, Tony. We can cut this if you don't want to answer it. But did you want to go into the building trade, or did you feel like you had to because of your brother and because of the way it worked? Like,
no, it was something I wanted to do. Oh yeah. No, I'm a very practical person, and I've always I mean, especially like when I left school in 1984, it was for me. I didn't even know how to turn on a computer. I mean, computers we only just had a couple of computers that only just started in the school when I left. So a computer was like something so alien to me. Yeah, I would never even considered it.
Yeah.
But so for me, construction was I was always going to go to construction. Yeah.
You still enjoying it?
Yeah, I do still enjoy it. Yeah. I think it's if I've got no pressures, it's good. Yeah.
So you've obviously you're doing companion homes, and you've got like as you said before, you started like pizza companies and pizza places and other stuff.
Yeah, we just had a bit of just something different in between, Just, yeah. But like I said, we've got 3 garden centres, but the only reason why we got in the garden centres was because we did a project over at Belrose, and there was a bit of a lull in the market, and we had trouble selling. It was a specky, and we had trouble selling it. And the owner of the Four Seasons nursery that we bought, she was trying to sell it, but she had plans done for 14 blocks of land, and we thought, oh wow, we've got to look at this, but it's not zoned for development.
Right.
But she was trying to push it through. And she wanted out, and we thought, oh, well, this could be a good thing for the future.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's got a rural
zoning,
so,
like R4.
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
It's so it's pretty So we thought, well, at the time we thought, oh, well, we'll get the nursery up and running, and so my middle brother, he stayed there and got that up and running, and we so me and my other brother, we just kept building. We thought, well, you stay here, and then if the development happens, we'll, get this done. But that, mind you, that was 20 odd years ago. So
20 odd years ago, yeah.
So, and it still hasn't happened. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. So.
Can I ask you, Tony, like, how you can cut this off?
Yeah.
How old are you, Tony?
53.
53. You started at 22, so you've been in the game 30 years?
I started 16.
But you started the company 22, so 30 years
more or less. Yeah.
But you started, so what?
Yeah.
35, 36 years in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jacob's ever asked you this, but what's the sort of end goal here for you? Have you asked that before, Jacob?
No, I don't think I ever have.
Would you like to know?
I'd love to know.
Is it like a retirement? Is it like to...
Well, I suppose one thing I always say, right, I've got 4 kids, and at the I suppose if I didn't have kids, I would have retired a long time ago.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I suppose in one hand, I suppose I'm working because I still enjoy working.
Yep.
Even though I'm on, Jake might think that I don't seem to enjoy it. But no, the end game for me, I don't know. Well, see, my brother's he's 62. He turned 62 this year, and even for him, it's like I suppose if he decides to retire, then I don't know. I might join my other brother at the garden centre and just do a couple of days there or something, or
like part time, just work.
Yeah, just part time. Yeah. So I haven't really thought too much into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But as far as like even personally, like as far as investing in more property, I think I'm done with that. Yeah. Because I'm kind of like, well, like I said, I'm 53, and the thought of paying off a property for the next 25 years puts me up to 80. So yeah.
So can I ask you this? You've got investment properties already?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Yeah, like personally, yes.
Yeah. So paid off?
No, they're not paid off, but they're positively geared.
Positively geared. So there's a lot of like what?
Yeah.
There's the debt's like a 30-40% whatever.
Yeah. So it's So there's plenty of equity there.
Plenty of equity.
But I mean, I did buy a unit in Brisbane which went backwards. So that's probably been it started off as had a really good return, and I'm thinking, I knew there wouldn't be much capital growth, but then when COVID hit, the rent dropped.
Which suburb?
Chermside.
Oh, Chermside.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a Quest apartment. It's a
a Quest apartment in Chermside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Capital growth.
Yeah.
I
I knew there wouldn't be much capital growth, but the return was really good, and I thought, well, if the return keeps going the way it was going, you make it up that way.
Yeah.
But with COVID and that, it was like took a big hit on the rent reduction. And
Yeah.
So,
have you sold any of your properties since you started investing, or you've kept them all?
No, well, through the business we've sold. We have sold some investment properties which we wish we had hung on to. But it was just I mean, like times it change. I mean, so so just to pay off a bit of debt and yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting how you say about like paying off another loan.
Yeah,
like another 25-30 year loan.
Yeah. Well, this was 20 years. This was 20 years ago when investing in the garden centres. It's worked out for us at the moment, but in hindsight, it would have been better if we hadn't have, because we ended up selling a couple of townhouses, which we a couple of developments that we'd done, which we kept townhouses, and we sold those to put into the into this property. So as far as because it's a rural zoning, the value of that property is still
it's still. I mean, it's R4. What can you do?
Yeah, well, it's existing use.
Yeah,
you see, and as running the business on there is the most value it's going to get.
Yeah,
yeah. So, and when you look at the way if we just stuck with property and not worried about diversifying, I think we would have been much better off. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's hindsight though.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
I mean, we can all say these things if we've done this, if we've done that. But
Well, it's interesting because it's kind of what we try to do as a mentorship here to clients, because they come to us wanting to build a portfolio, just like what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have very similar ideas about debt.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in this much debt and all of that stuff. But the way we say is, can you leverage your debt? Because we believe anyway, there's going to come a point in time where, like you've done, the value of a portfolio, you've got a lot of equity, is to give them choices in not having to pay off the debt, but if you can sell two and then pay off the two down the line.
I suppose. I suppose that. Yeah, it's a good way to think about it, isn't it? Yeah. Like keep investing, and then you get to that point, and just because you're going to get your equity and in the properties, and yeah.
What do you think of this strategy? Because we say you starting out investors are in an accumulation stage.
Yeah.
So we set out a plan where they can accumulate properties on different areas around Australia at certain price points, so it keeps them under their borrowing capacity, and then down the line they'll be able to what we call a consolidation stage, where you'll have the option to what I just said was, do we sell this one, pay this one, or the purpose is to try to get all your properties, if you can, but if you can, to about 30% debt by the time you're 60.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of the strategy.
Yeah. So that's I said so my mentality has always been like buy a property, pay it off, and then buy another one kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah. So I know all this the equity thing, and probably the last 10, 15 years that's really come about big time. You know what I mean? Because I suppose okay. Well, when I bought my first property with my wife, the house where we still live.
Yeah. Jacob lives there still?
Jacob still lives there.
Yes, I do.
Right. I'd built 2 townhouses up at the Central Coast with my brother, and we sold those, and we came out with $130,000 each. And I bought the place at Epping where I am now. I borrowed $180,000, and to get to borrow that $180,000, she was counting the rings on our fingers as collateral to get that loan. So it was different. It was different times.
That's different.
Oh yeah, she was counting. She goes, "Have you got any furniture?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, we just bought some fantastic furniture." And I was like, "Oh okay, we'll put down $2,000 for furniture." You know what I mean? So to get the loan across the line. So it was like coming from that, and then it was like, so to get out of that mentality, because it was like. And like we thought $180,000. We were scared by $180,000. $180,000 today is like peanuts. You know what I mean? Really, it's just And when people are borrowing, up to over $1 million, it's But so it took a while to I mean, I'm 53 and I'm still getting used to the way you guys do it. But I can see that it has a lot of benefits, and like you say, the consolidating your properties, and then if you want to clear your debt, well, if you get to that point in life where you think, okay, it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I think the way you've done it as well is a lot of I think older I think my parents would have done did the same thing, try to buy one, pay it off. But I think realistically in today's sort of market, that's really hard to do. And it's just lucky. I think it's not lucky, but you've obviously worked really hard that you could, build townhouses, get that profit, and be able to pay some debt. But to build properties now is hard. To get to 3, even 4 properties. It's very difficult. To a lot of people, to pay one mortgage will take them till they're 70 years old.
Well, that's right.
But,
like I said, the way you guys do it makes a lot of sense.
The only thing is, people, if they do it this way and they decide to be renters, they got to get the emotion out of not feeling like owners.
Yes.
Well, that's the hardest part, because they feel like they don't own it.
Fair enough.
So, are you guys calling us to stop soon? Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. We've run out of time.
Oh, we've run out of time already.
Oh, jeez.
We could have maybe a second session now. There's a lot more I want to know about Tony's, the way he was able to build his properties. But anyway,
we can get
before we go,
know where he lives.
Was there any questions you wanted to ask us?
No, well, Jacob's he's filled me in along the way, and like I said, it's like even when he first said you guys found that property for him, and he was telling me, you recommend an interest only loan, and I was
we should talk about this.
Talk about it in 5 minutes, then yes.
Oh, okay, 5 minutes. All right.
Okay,
I want to know your thoughts, Tony, please.
Well, when he said the interest only loan, I said, no way. I was like, no, you got to pay some off. You can't just pay the interest and not, And then he was like, no. He goes, well, yeah. I said to him, well, if it's going to be interest only, you got to have an offset account, so to make sure.
Okay, that's different.
that
Yes.
that you're putting some extra money away just in case.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and then
sorry, continue.
yeah, no. Then when he explained to me that's how I think. That's how they
Yes.
just do it. Yeah. And I thought, okay, all right then. But I said, but don't touch that money in that offset account. I said, leave it there.
That's the thing. But you're right there, Tony. Look, a lot of people say that. Oh, no way. But we always say you need to set up your offset.
Yeah.
Any of the principal repayments that you were going to do, you may as well put in the offset because it ends up being the same as long as you don't touch it.
Yes.
Which that might be the hard part, but that comes with commitment and sacrifice and a bit of discipline.
Yeah, that's right.
It's almost the same, but that's a really good I guess insight to, because I do understand it's all a lot of the time is about you got to pay it off. You have to start paying it off.
Yeah.
So,
but
anyway, is that it for us?
I think so.
Tony, thank you very much.
No worries, pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed the first podcast you've ever done.
Yeah,
I think we got a lot
it's
of.
been good.
We got a lot of insight from this. Bit of your story, bit of your building background, and your thoughts as well on the market. That was really interesting to me as well. I don't know if you guys found that interesting. And hope you can come back again. Jacob invite you back. We can talk some more.
Sure, anytime.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, guys.